In 6.11, we'll draw on front this shape along with this trapezoidal portion, and they will extrude it. And for this circular part, we are going to create this half section and we'll revolve it. And finally, we are going to remove this small material through holes and add the radii. So start sketch on front, shortcut menu. The diameter is 12. Another diameter is 20. Now let's draw center line. This time let's draw a midpoint. From here, this is tangent line. Let's select this, right click, mirror. Okay. Now let's add distance from here to here. It is 25. So this is 15. Now let's press S and extrude one by one. First this one, right click, midplane, and the width is 25. Expand the sketch, extrude again this part, but this time it is not 25, but it is 18. Now expand the sketch and let's remove this part. Now let's go on front and start sketching. Now let's draw a center line. So here, so let's add the dimensions. From here to here it is 52. This is 9. Let's click accept and 5. And the diameter, now let's the diameter, which is given as 12. Now let's go to feature and select revolve. Now let's first add fillet of value 1. Similarly, we need to add the chamfer. So go to chamfer feature. Here value is 1 by 45. So this edge and this edge, and right click. Now let's measure the volume. It is 12937. It is different from what is given, which is 12788. So let's find the error. I can see I haven't added the hole over here. So let's add the hole. So on a front plane, let's start. Shortcut key S and let's drop the hole. So diameter is 4. So from here to here, the location is 38. And let's add horizontal relationship and let's create extrude cut. Now let's measure the volume again. This time it is 12788, which is a correct answer. In problem 6.12, here we are going to draw first center line, and then we'll try to draw this curvature, and we'll apply the dimensions, and finally we are going to remove this material. Make sure you use the provided all dimensions. Sometimes some of the dimensions are missing, so you need to assume that, for example, this arc and this arc having same value, because here it is radius 4 written typically. That means both are equal. So create sketch on front. Let's use center line first and add the distance 24. Now let's add let's add the center arc. So from here, this is the location. Now let's add few more arc over here. Similarly, from here to here, or you can use 3-point arc, no problem. Now let's reduce their overall dimensions. Now let's add 3-point arc. Now these all need to be tangent to each other. Now let's add a line over here. Now from here to here. Now let's first add the center line. Now let's add the dimensions. This is 14. Second thing, this radius is 4. Now its center is located from bottom at 6. Similarly, this radius is 2. And its center is located from bottom at 10. Now this and this are equal. So let's provide same dimensions, or you can provide the equal relationship. Now here, still it is not fully defined and no any other dimension is given. So let's draw this. This is 7. This is also 10. Now let's make this and this vertical, this and this point vertical. Now let's revolve this section. So choose center line, untick the thin features and select this part. Now let's go to front and draw circle having diameter 8. Make sure it is aligned vertically, and also this and this are concentric. Okay. Now let's place an extrude cut. So we need to think first. Now let's reverse this. So this side we are going to completely remove the material, but on second direction, that is this direction, it is going to be a cut by blind dimension of 4. Same way on a right plane. Let's draw circle having diameter 8. So select this and make them concentric as well as aligned with the origin. Now let's extrude cut. This time on this it is going to remove everything, but on other side it will be a blind cut of 4. Now let's find the volume. So it is 4630, which is correct answer. In 6.13 we'll draw the shape and revolve it, and then gradually we add this protrusion, then we remove the material over here. So start sketch on right plane. Now let's add dimensions. Before that, let's add the center line. So the overall diameter is 135. This diameter is 89. And this diameter is 60. Press escape and apply linear dimension of 72. And the overall dimension is 225. Now let's use revolve feature and untick the thin features and use this section and right click. Sorry, we do not have to use the 360 degree. Instead, let's use 180 and click OK. Now on this face, create new sketch. Select the face and convert it into entities. Draw a line and dimension it from vertical at 43 degree. Then one more line. Now angle between these two is 32. Now let's remove the additional geometry. Let's remove this as well. So this option will be very helpful to maintain the relationship. If you untick and remove this section, it becomes the underdefined sketch. So make sure you use this option. Now let's extrude. So use this, and the overall depth is 17. It's not mid-plane, blind. Now on this, let's start sketching again. So from here, okay, now let's give the dimensions 95 and this is 14. Right click, select midpoint and select this midpoint and coincident. Now shortcut key and extrude cut. Instead of through all, it's a blind depth of 10. Now let's click on top plane and create new sketch. Let's add rectangle. This dimension is 20. And from here to here, it is of 35. And in top, it is also 20. Shortcut key, extrude cut, and reverse the direction and through all. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 1152651, which is correct answer. In practice problem 6.14, first we'll draw this section and we'll revolve it about vertical axis. In the top, we are going to draw the circle and we'll remove the material by 5 mm and then by the 15 material by drawing the hexagon. And finally, we are going to remove this material. And exactly at the middle plane, we are going to draw this rectangle and we'll create a revolve cut in both directions. So start new sketch on front plane. Let's draw a circle having diameter 50. Now let's draw a line, horizontal line, which is located from the center by 17. Same way at the bottom. Its distance from origin is 23. Now let's draw center line. Let's remove the additional part of geometry. This time let's click on keep the trim entity as construction geometry. Now let's complete the region over here. Shortcut key, we do not have over here the revolve command, so let's add by customizing it. Let's drag and drop and let's click OK. Now press S key and now this is axis of revolution and click OK. Now create new sketch on top surface. Now let's offset by 2 mm as given. Now reverse the direction and click OK. Now let's draw the polygon. Now let's enter the one more circle having diameter 19.60. So let's increase the decimal point. Now let's select this and make it vertical. Now select this and make them coincident. Now go to feature and extrude cut. First we need to select this circle whose depth of cut is 5. Then expand same sketch, click on extrude cut. This time I am going to remove this material, that is using the hexagon shape. Now total depth is, now let's offset by 5 mm. So it goes down, and from there the blind depth is 15. Again expand same sketch, click on extrude cut. Now let's select the circle and create the through wall. Now let's create that small rectangle cut. For that we need to click on top plane and create new sketch. Now let's first create the axis of revolution. Now let's draw, similarly let's draw the vertical center line and then a rectangle. So select this line, press Ctrl, select center line and this, and make them symmetric. Now the horizontal dimension is 2 and let's give the vertical dimensions. So here press shift, select this and keep it 1. So we need to keep some part of a geometry outside of this circular line. Now why I am keeping this much of geometry outside? If I simply drag it and try to match with this, it is going to create very thin cut which result in two solid body. That's why deliberately I kept additional segment of a geometry outside of body. Now let's go to feature and create the revolve cut. Here we need to select the axis of rotation. So in direction 1 let's keep it up to 90 and direction 2 let's keep it 90 and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 39944. So this is correct answer. In problem 6.15, on front plane we are going to draw this section and try to revolve it. Now here the challenge part is the dimensions 165. If you look at very closely, it is given from the circumference point, right? Like the 75 which is given from sharp corners, which is virtual corner. So similarly here it is taken from this semicircular and from the virtual sharp corner, or you can say the circumference point. So that part we have to take care. Start sketch on front plane. Let's draw axis of revolution. Now let's apply dimensions, which is 75. Now angle between these two lines is 135. Now let's apply fillet radii of 25. Sketch. Now let's offset this geometry by 5 mm. So enter the distance 5 and click on select chain. Now it's not outside, it's inside. Now let's add tangent arc. Now let's also complete the region over here. Now let's add the dimensions. Now press shift key and select the circumference and click over here. So this is going to be 165. Now let's revolve the section and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 137296, which is a correct answer. In practice problem 6.16, on front plane, we are going to create this geometry and we'll revolve it. Start new sketch on front plane. One line of 37. Now let's draw a semicircular arc. Now radius is 8. Now let's add the distance 32. And let's remove the additional part. Now let's add a line. Now let's add dimensions over here, which is 13. And the angle between these two is 6. Let's remove the geometry. Now let's go to feature and create a revolve. And let's click OK. Now let's find the volume. So it is 4080, which is correct answer. In problem 6.70, first we draw on front plane the circle and this line and this line, and we'll apply the angular dimensions and we'll revolve it. After that, on front plane, we are going to create this rectangle and we'll remove the material. So start sketch on front plane. Let's draw a line which is of 54. Now let's create center point arc whose radius is 8. Now let's draw one more line at bottom. Now let's also draw a center line. Now from here to here, the dimension is 17. And also the angular dimension is 6. Now let's remove this part. Now let's extend that line. Now let's see why it is okay. Now let's select these two and make them center. Now let's revolve the section. Now let's remove this part. And go to feature and create revolve and click OK. On front plane, let's let's draw center line. Now let's add dimensions. Here it is 45 degree. Let's make concentric. Now let's create 3-point rectangle. This line must be perpendicular to center line. Also, let's make them symmetric about center line. Now let's add dimensions, or let's say it's not from there. So dimension is from here. Shift and select this circumference, and this is 6. And width is 3. So let's keep this geometry outside little bit. Now let's go to feature and extrude cut. This time I will select both direction. Now let's measure the volume. It is 7587, which is correct answer. In problem 6.18, from the center line, we are going to create this sketch and revolve it. So start sketch on front plane. Let's draw a center line downward. This line of 68. And from here, let's draw a small line. Now let's add angle. Here it is 4. This is 17. And these dimensions is 18. Now let's add one more line. But this should be perpendicular to selected line. Now from here to here, the distance is 2. Now let's revolve the section. Now let's measure the volume. It is 10093, but the answer is 10337. So we missed something. Let's find that error. Now we have only one sketch, so select it and inspect the wall dimensions. Okay, so this is 68. Rebuild the model. Now let's again measure the volume. Now it is correct answer, 10337. Now problem 6.19, it's similar to problem 18. The only thing is some dimensions are changes. So we'll directly modify the dimension of previous problem. So let's edit the sketch. So this is going to be 71. This is going to be 9. And this is going to be 24. Rest of the angle and bottom diameter are same. Now let's measure the volume. It is 11704, which is correct answer. In problem 6.20, we'll create this section and revolve it. We'll drop the holes and then slot. So start sketching on front plane. Let's draw center line. Now let's draw the circle having diameter 110. Now let's remove the part. Now let's also draw a line which is located from origin at a distance of 30. So now let's remove this additional geometry. Let's close the region. And let's revolve the section. Now on top plane, let's sketch the holes. So for that, now the diameter as given is 25 and center distance is 50. Let's make their center horizontal and let's mirror so let's make this vertical. Now along with that, let's draw a line from circumference to circumference. Now let's extrude cut this time. Here we'll use this circle and this circle and right click. Now expand the same sketch again. Use extrude cut feature. This time use this one and this one. But here, instead of through all both directions, we need to offset the starting plane. That is by 15. And let's reverse the directions. So this is 15 and from there we need to have a through wall cut. So in top view, it looks like this. In isometric view, it looks like this. Now let's measure the volume. 499,297 and answer is 298. So this is correct answer.